Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hey everybody.
Hi.
We're happy to be back. We hope you enjoyed our special Emmy nominations episodes. And we're back with our usual fare. We're going to start with the stats. We tallied 17 primetime shows, out of which written or co-written by women were 8, which is almost 50%, 47%. And directed by women, 53%, 9 shows.
That's very good.
Not bad at all.
If we had been doing this 3 years ago even,
it would have been very different.
A completely different story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're seeing kind of fairly even, consistent percentages, which are moving more towards being 50-50, which is really nice. So we're going to start with a movie review for you. We finally went to see Mamma Mia.
Well, we finally went to see it because we finally got it.
Exactly my point.
It's not like we were thinking, when should we go?
I would have been right there on the first night.
I know, we practically were.
So we've talked about it before, but just to remind you, this was written and directed by Ole Parker, who also did
Imagine Me and You, one of my very favorite lesbian movies ever.
And also quite different, but still fabulous.
Yes,
the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Marigold Hotel, which I always have trouble spitting out.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And now almost all of the original behind-the-scenes people were still involved. And most of the original cast was there with a few additions, like Lily James, who plays Donna when she was younger.
So lovely. Such a beautiful spirit and so talented. I just adore her. She lights up the screen. She really does.
Look at that. We both said that, so it must be true.
Surprise. It must be.
She really does. And for a nice change in this movie, she can sing.
She can sing. Exactly.
Now, the way I felt about it, because, I don't know how many of you out there know it, but I'm a Mamma Mia fan. I went to see the show itself in London 19 times. I went to see the movie, the first one, 25 times in the theater. And I didn't have high expectations. I didn't have high expectations because it's a sequel. It's what can you do with this? And to begin with, the show was much better than the movie. But I was up for some fun. And for the first 20 minutes or so, I was cringing throughout the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
It was trying so hard.
Oh, there's a scene in a restaurant where you just want to throw a rotten tomato at the screen. You really do.
And the thing is that the movie, yes, it has these grand sequences and the dancing, but it's really about the heart, about the friendships, about the mother-daughter relationship.
That's what makes this movie so wonderful.
Right, and so that's why after those first 20 or 30 minutes, also the problem with the first...
The boys.
Right, so the first part of the movie, we go back to Donna when she was younger and how she meets the
three potential fathers.
Right, and those three boys, albeit that they're lovely, but they are even worse singer than Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, that's pretty bad, but Pierce Brosnan is Pierce Brosnan, and he can do anything he wants, and it's just lovely.
Right, so first of all, he's Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
And secondly, he imbues the song with so much acting that it becomes something different. You don't have to be as good a singer if you're really a good actor.
It's like Rex Harrison.
Right. There are many ways of
Lady. Absolutely.
Right. There are many ways of doing this, but the boys at the beginning did not work for me.
No, they're all just sort of skinny.
Pretty.
They're not even that pretty.
Semi-pretty.
Kind of cute little guys. And they did sort of evoke their grown-up selves, which I thought was excellent. And especially who evoked their grown-up selves were the friends.
Girls,
the girls.
Yes. The Dynamos.
Yes.
They were fabulous.
Really great.
And also, here's another thing. But just to say, I want you to understand what I'm about to say, which is after those 30 minutes, though, the movie really took off.
And it was a delight.
A lot of it involved the fabulous Christine Baranski and Julie Walters, whom, again, they can't really sing, but they put so much into the song that we were reeling. Both
anyway, they're auto-tuned to death, so it...
Yes, but there are people that, like those boys, that you, even when you do auto-tune, there's so much you can do. But their two big numbers, Christina Baranski and Julie Walters, I just laughed and laughed and laughed. But also, and I'm not going to tell you about, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but there is a storyline that is really moving.
Yes.
And I cried several times.
Mm-hmm. I even got a little teary at
one moment. Like your eyes
I'm sorry, Mariska, a little moist.
For those of you who don't understand the reference, if you watch Mariska's studio, inside the actor's studio, her least favorite word is moist. Why?
So we evoke Mariska every time we say the word moist.
Not in vain. Anyway, Cher was a hoot. I thought she was
as ever.
She was a really good sport. I
thought. And really to look younger than your daughter. It's kind of scary. She kind of looks like her Madame Tussauds self, but she looks great. If you don't mind someone who doesn't look alive, she looks fabulous.
Or somebody who can't move any of her
it's sort of like when you
muscles.
come to see a dead body, you go, oh, they really look like themselves.
Like after they've been embalmed?
She really doesn't look like herself, but she looks great. Almost like she's living.
It was great. And now she's coming out with a new a CD that's all ABBA covers, so obviously she enjoyed it.
Never to let an opportunity slip away.
I thought it was really great.
It was a charming movie, and Grease is so magnificent.
Yes,
it's just so exquisite. And Amanda Seyfried was lovely.
Yes, she was. And she also can sing quite well, so that would.
And the men are
adorable,
especially Mike Pierce. But I have to say that I'm rather in love with Colin Firth too.
And there was that Greek woman who barely got any mention, but she was wonderful. Her
wonderful,
character.
yes.
And there were by the way, if you're Mamma Mia fans, there are some Easter eggs thrown in there that just made me roar. So that was fab. So anyway, we really just stay through the first part of the movie and you will be rewarded.
Yes,
I think.
it's a perfect summer movie. We're on the vineyard. We go to see things that we would never leave our house to see.
I would always see Mamma Mia.
Well, I understand, but still, we go to movies we would wait to see on television.
Yes. I do recommend, though, because we saw it not in the best conditions, I do recommend to go to a movie theater that has good sound system and a big screen, because those huge dancing sequences, they're just a waste. I felt that we missed out on a lot.
Well, I don't know. It was good enough for me.
Anyway, Mamma Mia, here we go again. In theaters now. Go check it out. By the way, if you're hearing a lot of background noise, we're so sorry. There are very, very big, strong winds.
Down a little right now.
So you might be hearing a little swooshing in the background, but it's just atmospheric.
A crow just sort of flew by the window. You'll be hearing sounds of the outdoors.
So should we move on to the next one?
I think it's time.
Well, we want to amend our review. A few weeks ago, we talked about The Affair, and though our review is definitely true backdating to the previous seasons, this season
really, really upped its game.
Yes.
Really upped its game.
And the first thing that they did that really made a difference is that they stopped doing those different points of view.
Yes, because they were so different that it was really ridiculous.
And
it's
they were missing out.
It's like they were an alternate universe, and they were telling the same story over and over again. They still do show some things.
Not so much anymore. They did the first episode.
But some of it is still a little bit from different people's perspectives, which is okay. But mostly it's just the stories of these people.
And they're good stories this year.
Very good stories. And did they get a new showrunner or something?
No,
usually
it's still
when things
Sarah
have a
Treem.
radical,
No, it's still Sarah Treem and Haggai Levy. Of course, Maura Tierney.
Yes, she's having a really great year. And we're liking Noah this year.
Oh, yes, all of a sudden he's become more of a human being. I think that also we've learned recently that they've been renewed for the final 5th season, which I think is a good idea.
It's a very good idea.
This
is a show that you have to stop at a certain point.
And of course, we should mention that Maura Tierney, Helen, her character in this recent episode, had a little lesbian incident.
A little flingette, I would call it.
There are two things about it. First of all, her entire storyline in that episode was very empowering to her.
Exactly. And she goes on a woman's weekend and she learns a lot of things that are good for her to know about herself.
Because all of a sudden you realize that up until now we've never seen her with other women as friends, and she's learning more about her role as somebody who's not just a mother and a wife.
As an elder.
Yes, as somebody who has wisdom to impart to other women who can look up to her. And about the lesbian thing, even though I'm sure that it was the first and last time we'll ever see it.
That we'll ever see it. Well, we know it's the first time we'll ever see it, but we don't think it's the first time.
And this is what I was about to say. What I liked about it especially is that before that, the girl asked her, do you only sleep with men? And she says,
Mostly.
So they didn't even do it as she was just experimenting because she was high and because she was,
No.
She
was
flows.
Into it. Yep.
Yeah, she's a fluid girl. So,
she basically flows downstream, but every once in a while she'll swim upstream.
Yes, and we relish it when it happens. So anyway, we just really want to say, because we felt like we did it an injustice.
Mm-hmm. There was a good story with Jonathan Jackson, not Pacey. What's his name?
Joshua Jackson.
I always want to call him Jonathan Jackson from General Hospital, Nashville, because
Joshua.
He grew up with me.
Yes, he's the only really character that I don't like that much is Allison. But that's
she's still
fine.
Annoying, but that's okay.
But she has also interesting stories.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just that she's so depressing. But really, this season has been much better. So if you stopped at some point, because I couldn't blame you for it, I really recommend just coming back and checking out this season. There was a little reboot because they moved to LA and all that. You almost don't have to watch. Like if you stopped after the second season, you almost don't have to catch up in order to really.
It even
enjoy
got
this
a little diverse. It's not just about angsty white people. Sanaa Lathan is in this season.
Interesting storyline.
An interesting storyline, yes, and I love her. So there's a Hispanic guy, and
who's this? Oh yeah.
They're at least changing their palette a tiny bit.
It's been better. So check it out.
We watched a very interesting and depressing show called. It was a miniseries called The Looming Tower, which you can see in Hulu, and you can also pay for it on Amazon Prime, although it's cheaper to get Hulu, I think, for a month. Because there's quite a few episodes. And created by Dan Futterman. The guy's really turning into a very interesting both writer and producer. Lawrence Wright and Alex Gibney. And it's about the events that led up to 9/11. And it stars Jeff Daniels
and a bunch of other
people, including Bill Camp, who has a wonderful, who you know from The Night Of, and he many things. But he once again plays sort of an angsty character. And for all you As the World Turns fans out there, Annie Parisi is in it, and will just make you want to scream and tear out your hair, because really 9/11 happened because the CIA would not share information with the FBI.
And it
just really boils down to that.
To being
it could have been
being
stopped.
So crazy.
Holding information back that the FBI needed to do to stop these terrorists. And it will make you crazy. And I'm sure it's exactly what happens, although maybe having learned a terrible lesson, they've opened up a little bit, but I think not. I think there's still every cop show, every show about the agency and the Phoebes, everything does always show that there's a possessiveness. Even, like Brooklyn doesn't want to share with Manhattan. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just crazy. People, you are in law enforcement. You need to work together. This could have been stopped if you believe this show, and I believe this show.
I think it's based on
complete
true
and utter fact. It's based on a
yeah.
book, but it's investigative journalism.
And I just want to mention, by the way, that it's not that new. We just caught up to it now.
Yes.
But if you're like us and you got Hulu to watch The Handmaid's Tale, then while you're on Hulu, check out these other shows that are very good.
Yeah. Anyway, I recommend it highly. It's a little slow in parts.
At the beginning, especially, then it really picks up.
But then it really picks up.
Yeah,
yes.
The Looming Tower, and also, by the way, it has a lot of personal stories in there.
Yes.
So it's not just about like the.
Nope, it's not just about politics. It has to do with actually Jeff Daniels' insane life too. So it's quite good.
Yep.
Now. If only it was something we could binge.
Oh God, it's so bingeable.
Unfortunately, because it's on USA and not on
Netflix or Hulu or Amazon.
or one of those shows where you can binge. The second season of The Sinner, and it's creepy, fascinating. I cannot wait to see the next episode.
Yes, we have to wait a whole week between episodes. Now, by the way, it's on Wednesdays on USA. It just started August 1st, and you can watch the first season on Amazon Prime.
Which you might want to, but you don't have to.
Exactly.
The only carryover is really Bill Pullman. It's obviously going to be like Fargo, an anthology show, except there's no carryovers on Fargo. It's always a whole new cast. But
no, this is the same character who's just going to have a new
detective,
case.
Right. And
Jessica Biel, by the way, who starred and executive produced the first season, is executive producing this one, even if she's not in it.
And our darling, fabulous Carrie Coon is starring. We don't see much of her in the first episode, but I think we will see so much of her in the coming episodes. And it's about... I don't think that it's any secret. They've told you about it many times. It's about a young 13-year-old boy who kills his parents. And... it's very disturbing, very, very, very disturbing. The boy is very disturbed. And as with this first season of The Sinner, what's going to unfold is why this happened.
Right. And I think that...
I think the backstory is going to be extremely hard to watch.
I think that they did a great job in the first episode with the suspense. The first season, even though it was good, I have a feeling this season is going to be much, much better because the story itself is so much more compelling, I think.
Well, and I think we're going to find out that it's going to be even more so, that it's going to be I don't know if it's about cults. It's about
and by the way, the first season has religious elements into it, and so it's there's some not mystical, but people and their beliefs and it's not an easy show necessarily to watch, especially the first
probably
season.
A good thing we can't binge on
it, right? By the way, it was created by Derek Simmons and based on a book by Petra Hamasfar.
Like hemisphere, but hemisphere.
Also, by the way, this season, very central, is a biracial lesbian detective
named
played by
Natalie Paul,
who is quite a good charismatic, I think, a lead.
Right, she plays Tracy Letts' daughter.
Right. And I think this is going to be really good. Carrie Coon thrown into any mix is always...
What Carrie Coon does, it always makes it better. By the way, does anybody know how I can watch season 3 of Fargo?
Yes,
It's not on Hulu anymore. Unless I want to pay $2.99 an episode, and I don't. So,
if anybody has any information,
please.
We don't have a reward at the moment. But
just pass it along, please. For everything we've done for you, do this for me.
So, The Sinner, we highly recommend you start watching it. And again, you don't have to watch the first one, though. I'm sure that in terms of Bill Pullman's character, there's going to be more growth that is kind of going to build on the growth that we had in the first season.
And remember, if you're the kind of person who likes to binge and you hold off, when you watch it on demand, you will have to watch commercials.
Right.
So,
but eventually it might get to Amazon Prime like the first season did.
Don't wait that long.
So The Sinner on USA Wednesdays started this previous Wednesday. Now we just want to briefly, because we've talked about these 3 shows before, but we just want to briefly talk about their finales. 2 of them had season finales. One of them had a season finale that turned into a series finale,
which they were obviously not expecting.
Right, which is always a shame.
And that was Colony, and it had a really exciting, fabulous season end cliffhanger, which unfortunately, unless someone picks it up, and I think it's too late for that, it didn't do very well in the ratings.
Right.
It was a wonderful show. We loved it, especially towards the second part of the season. It got really, really good. It had a little bit of a slow
the first
start,
was slow,
but it had a fantastic wrap up, and maybe they could give us a movie.
Maybe that would be great. I mean, I understand why they canceled it because the ratings were consistently declining, so I understand. But this is the kind of show that you really, really want to have a good wrap up in the end to answer some of the big questions that they pose. So I think a movie would be a really great idea. I don't know if we're actually going to get it, but I hope so.
But I'm hoping.
I'm hoping so too. The other show is called Dietland, and I just wanted to use this opportunity to reiterate, now that we've seen the entire season, because we've talked about it before, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning. I just want to reiterate what a fantastic, brilliant show this is.
About a very important topic, many very important topics, mostly about how women are taken advantage of.
I think it should kind of be mandatory viewing.
Yeah.
And
especially if you want to be a revolutionary.
Well, especially if you want to wake up to things that maybe you were subconscious until now, and you
wake up.
Yes, be woke.
Be
right?
woke. Right. Yeah.
Anyway, if you haven't yet, now is your time to binge on the whole season. I really hope they get renewed. We haven't heard anything yet, but I think that they
left it also at a very exciting point, and there's a lot more story to be told. Everybody is so wonderful. I love, what's her name? The girl who plays Plum.
Joy Nash.
Joy Nash is just a
she's a revelation. Her first thing,
she was an internet star, and she's I can't quite get that out. It sounded very nasal.
Now, Juliana Margulies is going to be in a new show, so I don't know if it's going to clash. But this is a short, summer series, so she can definitely do both. But anyway, Dietland. If you haven't seen it yet, it's an AMC show. Go and binge, and
which means it's edgy.
Yes, and the third series that we wanted to discuss. You go.
Pose. Now, we have loved Pose since the very first episode. And what's been so wonderful about Pose is that as these people create their families, which it's as much as it's about the ball scene and the dressing up and, posing, it's also about creating your own families. And
for people who have been rejected,
by their families for being gay or transgender or whatever reasons.
Yeah.
And it had the most heartwarming ending. It was one of the most satisfactory season finales I've seen in a very long time.
To the point where it could have been a series finale.
Where it could have been. They were maybe because they didn't know they were going to be picked up.
Well,
which
they probably didn't know. What
it was a very risky show.
Yeah.
Didn't know if they were. I'm sure that if they were going to find an audience.
Right.
And if it had been the series finale, it would have been a perfect ending. But now that it's not, I can't wait to see where it goes.
Oh, there's so much more to explore.
So many stories to tell. And
these characters are so beautiful that you just want to go on the road with them wherever they lead you. And the actors are wonderful. Many of them are first-timers.
First-timers, absolutely. Blanca is just...
I hope we're going to get a lot of Emmy nominations there. And you know what? If we don't, because all of Ryan Murphy's shows get... nominated.
Of nominations.
If we don't, then this is definitely a hate crime.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it.
So Pose, if you haven't, again, it's on FX. I mean, it's not anymore, but if you haven't been watching, then go out now and binge it on demand, or at some point I'm sure we'll get to one of the streaming services. And finally, before we leave you, just for a week, don't worry, we'll come back. I just want to say we are aware that Orange is the New Black, the new season is out there, and maybe some of you have already binged the entire thing. We
gave up.
I think the last episode that we managed to get through was the first or the second of last season. And that was also like forcing ourselves.
It was.
And we had heard
it was so good and it was so changed and...
We just couldn't. We really, really couldn't. So this is our request to you. If you have seen the new season of Orange is the New Black, and if you think that is worth our time, but really worth our time, because, we have a lot of shows that we juggle at any moment, then please let us know and tell us exactly why you think it's worth our time. Did it change? Did it do something risky? Did new people
go back
come in?
To its earlier, more realistic?
Is the writing does it not seem on crack anymore? Just tell us what you think about the new season of Orange is the New Black. If enough of you tell us that we need to watch it, then we'll watch it. Also tell us if we can skip season 6, or do we have to watch it to lead up to season? Because was it season 6 last? Or maybe it's this one. Anyway, the last season was. Because I just really can barely.
Yeah, and because I have a lot of shows I also watch by myself that my wife won't watch with me.
Yes.
So I really need a reason to watch.
Yes, so we really need your feedback here, okay? So ladypartstv@gmail.com. Please email us and let us know. And for now, we're going to bid you adieu.
Adieu!
Until
adieu.
Avita Avita saying goodbye.
Oh my God! Please, Richard Rogers.
Oh no! Copyright!
Copyright!
Shit.
Don't charge us.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. Email us. Let us know what you're watching, what you want us to talk about. And if you want to get your own personal podcast, then you know where to go, right? If not, the link is in this blog post.
Yes, and we just recently had a personal podcast.
Yes, and it was
with
fabulous.
With Rachel.
Yes, we did, and we really enjoyed it. So if any of you out there...
We hope you did too.
Yeah, if any of you out there want to do a 2-on-1 with us, where we do a podcast together, then just in case you don't see the link, go to our website, ladypartstv.com, and then right there in the homepage, you'll see support our work. Click on that button, and you'll be taken to the Indiegogo campaign where you can buy your own perk. So thank you again for joining us.
And we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.